Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we have Munenyasha Ishe who specializes in machine learning and AI. Welcome Munenyasha.
Hi, Tatanda. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for making time for this. So maybe we can start with asking who you are and where you're from.
All right. So I'm a storyteller, but I'm gonna try and make this really short.
Okay.
All right. My overall personality is expressed as a ambidextrous, all-round creative. Um, I'm musical. I'm predominantly a writer, a transformational speaker. I actually run youth empowerment programs, and very soon I'll be running or launching a program called Mind Framing. That is basically trying to help young people reprogram their minds for effectively living, dealing with issues of trauma and mental health, and just helping them come from a place of survival to thriving in their personal lives as well as their professional lives. So I'd say that's who I am in a nutshell. They call me Khan. And overly, of course, I'm in a machine learning and data science enthusiast. Yeah,
That is a
that's
very
about
that is very impressive. I really like respect people who are activists and people who do like a lot of creative stuff. So I think that is really impressive.
Thank you so much.
Going now to the AI and machine learning, what did you study and how did you get into AI?
All right. It's a bit of a long story, but again, I'm gonna try stick to time.
Okay.
All right. So, my background in terms of my formal education, I studied accounting and finance, accredited by the University of Derby, which is an institute based in UK, but it was in partnership with Botswana Accountancy College. Then I did my master's in accounting and finance applications at Midland State University in Zimbabwe. So I would say that's about it regarding my formal education. But how did I get into AI? You see, I'll pretty much say that my gravitational pull towards data science and artificial intelligence began sometime in 2017 when I was actually trying to come up with a topic for my accounting and finance thesis. I landed on the topic artificial intelligence, a wake up call for the accounting and finance profession. So after I did that, I discovered things like the Internet of Things, uh, big data, AI, of course, and digitization, and how really people based in the finance and accounting industry have to rethink the future of work, right? But for some time, I took a break until I began to have like premonitions and dreams. I'd see calculus, I'd even dream code. So in 2020, late 2020, I decided to actually finally do something about it. I started researching on opportunities that are available for women in terms of getting a head start into tech space. And that's when I bumped into Women Texters. Tech for Dev, which is actually based in Nigeria. And they gave me a 1 year fellowship training to study data science with them. From there, I furthered my studies in terms of going deeper into machine learning, deep learning, and even applications of in finance. With World Quant University, they gave me a bursary to study applications of data science. From there, I did more studies with Microsoft. I have a few Microsoft certifications, and that is how I find myself in data science today. It's been quite a journey, yeah.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, and I think it's very good for someone with like a different background, for someone who for because most people usually have like a tech related or mathematics related background, and so for them it kind of looks like it's easy for them to go into machine learning and AI. So I think it's very good for someone who wants to get into the space and they have the same background as you. And because also one of the questions that I get a lot on LinkedIn is how do I move from what I'm doing right now into data science or into machine learning? So I'm usually like just telling people that they can do the online certificates and then they just try working on projects. But like your journey into how you got into data science could be a learning path for someone as well. So I think that is really good for you to share that. So what kind of work do you do right now? And like what interesting projects have you worked on?
All right. Currently, I am a machine learning resident apprentice with Africa Code Academy. So mainly my work or my projects right now are predominantly around the applications of artificial intelligence in farming and the applications of machine learning in agriculture. So that's predominantly what I do now. But some of the interesting projects that I've done, I'm particularly excited about this one. It's an idea I came up with during the Tech for Dev fellowship. So the idea entails developing financial algorithms for business optimization, which includes like designing Python to perform analytics and financial modeling given the relevant business data and the defined matrix. But the overall idea was brought by the situation and the reality, particularly in my region here, where most startups and SMMEs, small medium enterprises, don't make it past the going concern of 3 to 5 years. So basically, this tool was meant to be developed in order to help them in terms of issues of financial health and financial prudence, and to also serve as a tool that can give guidance to novice investment finance traders. So that's really an idea that I'm very excited about, because it allowed me to apply my background in finance and get into programming and marry the two. And I think it's one of the most exciting combinations. Yeah. But another exciting project that I have also gotten to work with my Tech for Dev team the time I was still in the fellowship. We were designing I'd call it a gender-based violence alert application. That's what we called it. So the general idea was around using technology in order to tackle social issues and find some form of relevance in society as data scientists and software developers. So that was a fun project. But in general, I've also done projects that include the applications of machine learning in the health sector, in real estate, and of course in investment finance. Yeah.
Those are very interesting projects, and they are really different from the usual kind of projects that I hear people talking about a lot. So I really respect that. So which software or programming languages do you use when you're doing your work?
All right. In terms of softwares, Microsoft Azure Machine Learning Studio, of course, Google Colab, TensorFlow, Open Neural Networks, and what else? PyTorch. Yeah, that's I'd say those are my top tools, especially when you're still either, could I say, a beginner or still trying to find your steps in the data science and machine learning steps. These are very reliable tools, even for experienced engineers. Yeah.
Okay, well, how is the data science and AI space? Because you're based in Botswana, right? Like, what kind of tools do they usually use there if you're looking for a machine learning or a data science job? What kind of programming language or software would you advise someone to know?
All right. Well, I don't know how much I can speak for my local community right now in terms of the region I'm in, because the work that I'm actually doing now, I'm not like employed with companies that are based here. I work remotely. Yeah, I have a 9 to 5 job for Monday to Friday, and then another part-time gig where I'm dealing with natural language processing models. So it's mostly remote, but I would say maybe if I'm advising people that want to get into the data science space who are based in my region, I would say you never go wrong with starting with Python. I feel like Python is the mother of data science, and if you master that, you have a really solid foundation. Yeah.
Okay. So what does a day at work look like for you? You said you have like a full-time job and then a part-time gig. What does a whole
Yeah.
day look like for you?
All right. Oh, that's actually interesting. Oh, before I answer that, I would like to mention that I love what I do, and I'm very passionate about the machine learning space. But I think for most programmers, especially people in data science, we wake up and we scream. Yeah, for like a good 1 hour, you're trying to figure out, oh my gosh, all those deadlines, everything that I need to do. How can I split myself and make sure that everything works? So I think a predominant first 1 hour to 2 hour of my day is me trying to talk myself into this and remind myself why I began and the bigger picture of where I'm headed. Yeah. But after that, um, well, I get straight into usually 9:30. I do code review with my team members and with my facilitator or mentor, depending on the project we're doing. From there, we get our deliverables for what we're supposed to achieve that day. And then again at 3:30, we have an advising session with our mentors and just to touch base again with our team members about what we've managed to achieve, what went wrong, what we could do right, how we could improve on the models and stuff like that. And then that's about a rough start of the day. But then I would say that that's not even half of it. I feel like for programmers, our day starts when the day ends. What I mean is, really, the honest truth is that work begins after 5 p.m. and then you find yourself going to bed at 2 a.m. because you were still trying to deploy a certain model and or you were still trying to fix 1,000 errors, which I feel like if I'm to summarize programming to a beginner, I'd say half of it is fixing errors and
It is.
debugging.
It is.
Yeah, that's pretty much, I'd say, my experience in terms of how a normal day looks like for me. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So you talked about natural language processing gig. So you're into natural language processing, and what are the applications of AI?
All right. Yeah, with NLP, I'm fairly new at it. Mostly doing aspect based sentiment analysis, but other applications of AI, it's as I had mentioned earlier, that predominantly the projects that I'm working on now, it's applying machine learning in agriculture, doing crop yield predictions of how much crop can be turned over from a particular farmland. So those are predominantly the projects that I'm dealing with now. So it's also a lot of applications of computer vision, dealing with satellite imaging data. Yeah, that's about it. As far as what I'm working on now, although on the side, I'm also still trying to build up on my financial analytics idea. So it's also a lot of reading into and trying to keep myself abreast by doing projects that have to do with applying machine learning in trading and investment. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So my last question is, what advice would you have for anyone who wants to move into AI, especially someone who doesn't have a tech or mathematics related background?
All right. First of all, I would say research. Here's the one thing that I loved when I got into the tech space. I realized that the tech space is so community based. It almost feels like everyone wants you to make it. I've never, well, not I think I have never quite experienced that in an industry where everything is about community. There's so many projects, I mean, platforms and institutions that are trying to support novice or startup data scientists. So there's so many opportunities online, not just in Africa, but even outside Africa. There's so many platforms to help you get started. But I would say what has worked wonders for me right now is getting acquainted with the World Quant program, the data lab program. It's very, very good for those who want to start. And you can never go wrong with Data Camp. I think Data Camp organizers are heroes. And yeah, also getting, trying to sign up for boot camps. It could be 8-week boot camps, it could be 12-week boot camps. That's really, really where to begin. But over and above that, I would also advise somebody who wants to get into this space that you need to find focus. First, define your goal and then work on that. What I experienced when I got into tech was because of the excitement of this completely new world and everything is so exciting. I wanted to do everything, wanted to be a master at everything. I did not only want to learn Python programming or machine learning, I also wanted to learn React. I wanted to build websites. I also wanted to experiment with Figma and do product design. Then I realized I'm trying to split myself into so many things. And at the end of the day, you're not going to gain one skill effectively. So if you can identify a particular goal and then streamline and limit yourself to that until you master that area, then you can now move on to another area. So I'd say focus is really a big one if you want to get into this space. Yeah.
Okay, that's really good advice because a lot of people struggle with wanting to know everything, which is, well, for me, I've always, because I've been in tech ever since, because I did my undergrad in computer science. I've always known that like when you're working on any field that has a lot of like programming languages, a lot of software, there's no way you can know everything. So one thing that I keep trying to tell people is you don't need to know everything. And I feel like a lot of people really struggle with this. Like you only get to know certain things if you are working on projects that require you to know them. But otherwise, just knowing the basics is fine, which is, I think, very good advice. So thank you for making time for this.
Thank you for having me, Tatenda. Yeah.
Okay.